I wonder if my dad was working there when you were.
I mean, maybe.
Rigo Lopez, does that sound?
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
I know. Every time we reference things now, it's like, oh, that was a long time ago.
I was like, oh, is that 20? Oh, yeah, it was.
I'm getting to the point now where people are like, oh, you remember so-and-so? And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm forgetting, and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like reintroduce somebody new again.
Boom, boom.
All right.
Not bad.
We're back with two dads in the pod. We have a guest today. If you haven't noticed, I'm Julius Caesar today.
I'm a toy army man soldier without the face paint because I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so we're actually dressed
tomorrow's Halloween.
Yeah, so.
This is the day before Halloween, but we figured we'd dress up just to, because we dressed up last year.
We did
last year was on Halloween, though, huh?
No, was it?
Was it?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe?
Day before, something like that. I don't
know.
remember. Maybe it was.
Or the week before.
Doesn't matter.
I just remember you were Blippy and I was
you were a lumberjack. No, I'm sorry, a huntsman.
Supposedly.
Yeah, because of the Red Riding Hood with your
daughter.
daughter.
My kid. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Want to introduce your guest?
Of course.
Let's see.
And of course, we have a guest today. As soon as you get the thing going.
No,
there you go.
I was thinking this one. And
that works.
Hey.
Yeah. Anyway, today we have our guest, a pretty badass chef that I've seen.
Oh, thank you.
Danelle Jarzynski. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
And you're a devil.
I am a devil.
All right.
I wasn't sure if we should do this guy or not.
I mean, why not?
Pop him up.
Yeah. No, I gotta. Okay, now that everybody got to see that, I gotta take this off because the helmet is. Hear an echo in the helmet. Wait, just put it right there. Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
So
tell us. Why don't you tell us how you got into becoming a chef?
Yeah, I mean, it started really early for me. Like, my dad used to work on a bunch of restaurants, and I would just, like, be there, kind of like as he did construction and plumbing, and I would just be, like, in the background. But I got to learn from some people that had restaurants, and they would just, like, let me play with the pizza dough and, like, let me kind of...
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You know, so I don't know, I always loved restaurants and really wanted to, and then I feel like in high school we took those aptitude tests.
Uh-huh.
And it was, like, teacher and, like, all these other things, but for some reason, and I remember the moment I was, like, just zeroed in on it.
like on your aptitude test, it said, "Oh, you're gonna be a chef."
It was just chef, and like it's like from that moment on, that's just like all.
I think you're the first one I know that it was accurate because everybody else did like all these other things.
I don't remember taking an aptitude test.
No? No. I feel like they brought us all in the office, so there's like some computer room over there, like by.
Kind of reminds me of like the Hey Arnold episode. I don't know, you guys remember that? When they did like an aptitude test and Helga got the wrong one. She got Harold, and it was like a woodsman or something, so she was acting all dumb, and Harold got like some corporate job.
So he started acting all like corporate.
Yeah, he started acting corporate, and then of course, yeah.
It's funny, right? Just like the power of suggestion.
Yeah, exactly.
They just like moved right into it. Like, sure, yeah, I could see that for myself. Yeah.
So it was something you did like since you were really little, and by the time you got to high school, it was like you were for sure doing it.
Yeah, and I always knew that's what I was going to do. My first job was in a pizza place, and I was kind of like a cashier, but like, they let us play, you know, and even into like adulthood, I would always work at like pizza places and Italian kind of, you know. But yeah, went to culinary school, just kind of did the whole thing, and jumped in both feet.
How long was culinary school?
It took me probably like a year and a half.
Oh, damn.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It was really cool. It was the first time in my life that I've ever had a 4.0.
Sweet.
Because you found you were doing something that you wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, yeah.
I think that's where people get 4.0.
And it was like practical classes too. It wasn't like a lot of, there's obviously a couple like history and like book learning classes, but it was like really hands-on.
Did you go to the Culinary Arts Academy at all?
The one here?
Yeah.
So I did. I took a couple classes there, and I feel like it was such a great like baseline for it that when I got to like actual culinary school, I'm like, oh, I've done all of this before. I wonder poorly as a child.
Well, I mean, that's when you learn.
Yeah.
I wonder if you saw my dad. I wonder if my dad was working there when you were.
I mean, maybe.
Rigo Lopez, does that sound?
a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
I know. Every time we reference things now, it's like, oh, that was a long time ago.
I was like, oh, is that 20? Yeah, it was.
I'm getting to the point now where people are like, oh, you remember so-and-so? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm forgetting and I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like reintroduce somebody new again.
Yeah.
So where do you work at now?
So right now I kind of hit my wall after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to find one. And I'm not sure if it's in this area or just across the board, but I think that it is a little bit to do with the area.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to find good help generally, but also in restaurants. I feel like when I was living up north, there was people that really, it was still kind of more trendy and like people wanted to just fully immerse themselves into chef life,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was hard. But now I feel like people don't want to do it, you know?
Huh.
Why is that?
I don't know. Because and even now, like I feel like all the chefs that I've worked for, like since my younger days, everyone's real nice and accommodating. No one's like throwing plates at you for the most part anymore.
Do you think pandemic had anything to do with that?
I don't know. People, I mean, across the board, people would rather not
work at a place where
yeah but
it kind of reminds me of the movie like Bradley Cooper was in, Mern.
Yeah,
was it? And was that something that you saw happen for like in real life?
It's accurate. It's accurate. And I was to the point where I would, and forever, I was like, I don't need a man or a baby. I'm just gonna this is gonna be my relationship. Like I am gonna be a badass chef. I'm going to like live, eat, breathe, sleep, dream, die like this business. And it was awesome for a while. And it's fun. I don't know. I just the 16-hour days, always being on call, people not taking care of stuff like you would like them to, and then you feel like then you have to, you know. But with the scarcity of goods, the scarcity of people who actually want to work, and then just the workload itself is kind of made me take a step back. And I'm doing more private chef stuff now.
Right. And I saw you got a license for that?
I did. I got my business license, and I've been dragging my feet on for a really long time. I'm not sure why. It was really, really simple, painless to get.
Is it maybe getting out of the like what you've been doing and just trying something new, kind of like? It's
cool to like kind of just jump into the abyss for yourself, you know, instead of having the restaurant and, you know.
Yeah.
So how'd you find out about private chefs? You said private chef, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been working for a couple different chefs in the area. I work for Oak and Vine. I work for Rachel Ponce sometimes, and just watching them, you know, and they build these great relationships with the clients and come up with some really cool food, and, you know, anywhere between like 2 to 50 people, and then you like clean up and then you're done.
I wish I had money to be like one of those 2 people.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, it's not bad.
Just
I mean,
to hire a chef for
like homie hookup is like $100 a person, but generally I like to work at like $135 a person.
Yeah. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I just think of the thing is with me and cooking. I always think of the dishes that have to go after.
Well, and that's the thing. So then I come in and I like bring all the stuff that's either pre-prepped or I prep there. But like part of the deal is then you like clean up and everything too.
Because I remember for our high school reunion, you brought in some food, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
Forgot about that too.
Actually, we talked about with Bianca, the high school reunion. Miguel, you're kind of
behind.
I know, but you were sort of involved because everybody that went.
So you were there, right? No, I just showed up at the bar.
Everybody thought that he was there, but since he was at the bar, that everybody showed up to afterwards.
I was like, I don't know what you guys talking about.
They just thought that he was a part of it.
It was funny because like that night, I forgot it was your guys' reunion, and then everybody went to the Kilt or Pepper McGregor's afterwards.
Of course, more people were there than they were at the reunion.
Right.
Yeah. So we paid all the money for the reunion and then saw everyone else that you actually kind of wanted to see at the bar.
Yeah,
I had to skip out because I had my son was just born like a month ago, so I was like, oh, I had to go right after that.
So long you can stay after a newborn for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I had just gotten married too, so I couldn't I had to like pick my I'm going to reunion, but I have to probably come home and help out, you know. So.
I had just moved back to town. I feel like I was gone for almost 11 years, and I moved back like 2 months after the reunion.
Mm-hmm. What brought you back?
I was supposed to get married, and I didn't.
Oh,
and I was living in this really expensive house that I could not afford any longer.
You said you went up north, right?
Yeah, I was up in like the Healdsburg, Sonoma area.
Okay.
I would have stayed forever.
I was actually going to say, how was the culinary life up there versus here?
It was great.
I figured.
It was nice to be in like someone else's small town that wasn't mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because then you can kind of like build your own rep, especially if
Without
you're like
nobody,
as a professional.
without nobody knowing you. Yeah.
No one knows your mom. No one knows your bullshit from high school. Fresh
we said,
start.
it's a small town.
It is small town,
And it's smaller up there. I feel like when I was up there, it was only 8,000 people as opposed to like 35 or 40 what we're working with here.
How long were you up there?
I was up there for 10 years.
10 years. And so you saw, when you left, you saw how small Paso was. And then when you came back, what was your...
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. Because I feel like when I left, like in 07 or whatever, I feel like there was like less than 100 wineries.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was like... When I left, there was like about 100, yeah.
Yeah.
And I left like 2012 and then came back 2016.
Yeah, and there's like over
250.
Yeah.
Now there's way more now, but
it's amazing we have water for that.
Oh yeah,
I know. All this talk about is like
our droughts.
Keep California golden, you know, and don't water your lawn or whatever. But like the wineries are like growing.
They use like such an immense amount of water too. Like yeah.
I never left Paso, so I don't have that. But also, I also barely leave the house now. So when I do, I always feel like there's a new brewery that opens up.
Well, now, everything is like almost like not even 2 years turnover downtown for some reason. There's a lot of business like that.
Yeah,
it's like you see one pop up. Oh yeah, I'll go check it out. And then when you finally make time for some crazy reason, like
it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, what the? Yeah. Or we moved or something. They found somewhere cheaper to.
Great. Well, I'm not gonna go.
Or they grew. Now. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
It was very interesting. So you were you ever wanting to? You said you would have stayed up there, right?
Yeah. But it was expensive there.
Coming back to Paso, was that, or were there other places that you wanted to go and live and try to be a chef there?
I mean, that's the cool thing about the business that I'm in, because you don't really have to be attached to a space. Like you can do what I do like really anywhere, just whether or not you want to live there or not. So as long as there's like a body of water and there's like a little bit of a downtown situation and there's like some people that actually care about food and you know like do it.
Yeah.
What I always feel like chefs are supposed to like all foods. Is there a food that you don't like?
I don't know. I do like most foods.
Because I know like Guy Fieri, he does not like eggs.
Oh, I read that.
And I sympathize with him because I hate eggs also. Like eggs. I don't like eggs either. So I'm like, hey, there is somebody other than me out there. You know, I thought I was just the only weird one.
I'm trying to think. There's like really nothing that gives me the ick when it comes to food.
Well, that's good. Have you tried to like make your own like creation, like maybe a fusion or something? Have you been able to play with food long enough to where you've maybe had some inspiration to make something?
So the last restaurant venture that I did downtown, we kind of did like a global menu. And it's hard because like, you know, when you look at a menu, you want it to like not be confused. Like you don't want like, you know, half American and then like half like Chinese, because it just like, what are they trying to do here?
Right.
But I tried to really like represent like all the continents, just like with different spices and stuff. But if I were to cook, I feel like I would describe mine as more of like Southern American with like an Asian twist.
Okay, like home style maybe, or
because I like love herbs and stuff, so like herby, spicy, but like homey, comfy.
I haven't not had lunch yet, so I'm getting hungry
now. You ever have one of those ideas where you thought? I mean, I feel like we've talked about it. You have an idea and then you don't do anything about it, and then later on it happens, and you're like, oh shit, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of instance like that with food? Like, oh, I could have made that dish, but somebody eventually made it, or came across something similar to what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, like probably like when the upscale comfort movement started kind of going, that was probably like 8-10 years ago too. But I feel like, I don't know, that's just more my spiritual side. I feel like every time like we have some big profound idea, I feel like, is it really our idea, or is it like a collective consciousness sort of idea?
Oh, okay, like it just kind of trickled down. And
I always tell myself, it's like, there's no way I'm the only one thinking about this exact thing right
There's
now.
no way.
There's no way. So, and I told somebody like tech in the tech world for like projectors and stuff like that, is like, I swear to God, if I'm thinking it right now and I'm trying to manifest it, it's already been invented, because I always find it like 2 months later.
I always say, never say it out loud, because then your FBI agent's going to hear it, and then it's going to go around the algorithm.
Your phone is bugged, man. They're listening.
No, it is. I mean,
but it's all like when you put it into practice, you know, like if you used to have the idea and you're sitting on it and you're thinking about it, but like I think what sets all that aside is like the people that actually can
start
executing with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's some brain frequency that just hits somebody that you just didn't think. You know, that's when you get the aha moment. Maybe it's the frequency that trickled into somebody else.
It's hard to like like do those things, like take the step and like actually create.
Get out of your comfort zone.
What's a leap of faith? And that's really hard to do,
it's
especially
never
if you're
cheap and it's never comfortable.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You have to get out of your comfort zone in order to try it out.
Yeah. I mean, some of the greatest things were made out of blood and tears,
Like actual sweat, blood, and tears? Like, wait, what are we talking about here?
I don't know. I just pictured
pyramids.
I just pictured for pyramids for some reason. Like, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, when will you ever build your own pyramid?
I don't think there was a comfort zone back then.
I don't think so either.
The pharaoh, maybe.
Yeah. Speaking of, I was
kidding. Yeah, there you go. Oh, is that what you're doing?
No.
Is your wife gonna be Cleopatra?
I'm not. No.
Okay.
No.
No same costumes?
No same costumes. It's funny because she was putting on the crown on this, and she automatically put it this way, like up and down.
Oh, that way.
And I'm like, babe, it's
like a headband.
It's not for a girl. It's like,
she's like, oh, it's pretty.
It's like, I'm sorry, I went mom mode and just went straight down, like instead of.
She put it on you.
On me.
Oh,
yeah. I'm getting dressed, and while I'm getting dressed, like, you ever slept with the king before? Like, being all silly. And then she puts it on. I'm like, you ever sleep with the queen before? Like, it was like.
You're gender fluid. It's fine.
And apparently back then, a lot of people in like that time era were very like both ways. So.
Oh, I played enough Assassin's Creed to learn to love enough history until they swung a lot. That's historically, I think, correct.
No, I had an idea for a tamale one time.
Let's hear it.
And I was like, tamale, everything's cooked inside of it, right? You just have the dough, and then you cook whatever's inside of it along with it. And I was like, why don't we just put pizza ingredients on there and make the dough somewhat like garlicky?
Okay.
And then we went over to Albertsons, and we were going down the frozen food aisle, and somebody already made it. I was like,
and in
son
the frozen
of a
food
bitch.
section, regardless.
Yeah, and the frozen food. I mean, tamales, once they're frozen, you can, that's what Mexicans did, to
pan fry. It's always really good after.
Yeah.
I'll
Toasty.
go a little crispy onto it. That's my favorite color.
Yeah, I know.
Golden brown.
Golden brown. Crispy.
Golden brown.
With some coffee in the morning, like.
Un cafecito.
Un cafecito.
You gotta say it in Spanish.
I'm sorry, people. Un cafecito. I never called it cafecito, I'll be honest. I don't know if
I usually say it to be silly.
Like, well, yeah, me too. I don't know if I'm doing my ancestors wrong there.
All I can think about is Gabriel Iglesias' skit when he says he went to
a Cuban restaurant.
Yeah, he went to Cuba in Florida. He goes, "Can I have a coffee?" And they give him a little
un cafecito.
Un cafecito.
Un cafecito.
He's like, no, I don't want cafecito. I want cafezote. And so I was like, okay, vaya con Dios. Vaya con Dios. Go with God.
Like in a soup bowl.
Yeah. Pretty much. But it was all espresso, so he's like wired up. Yeah.
Ralphie May did one like that too, where he wanted they gave him a little espresso, and he wanted a big ass one.
Yeah.
He said he shit himself immediately. He said he shit himself immediately.
I think any cup that I go with when I'm making coffee, it's not gonna be big enough because the only one I think was Amsterdam, and that one they had the big old mocha cup. I'm like,
it's like a soup bowl.
I was just in the corner, just cafecito. Speaking of burnt and golden brown, what's the worst food you've ever burnt in your experience? Because everybody has to burn. You don't make an omelet without any cracking an egg, nothing. Broken eggs. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely times, especially in a busy restaurant, if there is something braising or there is something in the oven. And sometimes you get really good. They call it the chef's timer. It's when you have a bunch of stuff going and you kind of change gears, and all of a sudden you're like,
oh shit,
oh my god, it's done.
Oh.
And I'm hoping it's not burnt. You pull it out. You're like, oh my god, it's so messed up. I know it. And you pull it out and it's perfect. And you're like, yes.
The perfect golden brown, right?
Yeah. We used to make oven dried tomatoes a lot. I mean, this is just probably I'm really bad about recalling memories like that. I'm sure next Wednesday I'll be like, aha.
Oh yeah.
But we used to make oven dried tomatoes, and it's a really low and slow process. And you have to cut all the tomatoes little ones and stack them all perfect on this little sheet. And it's supposed to be really low and slow in the oven. But if it's not low and slow, then you just have a bunch of little carbon guys, and it's usually the thing that you need the most.
Yeah, aesthetic wise, or just for taste, or.
Well, I mean, they were burnt beyond belief. You pick them up and they're just
Thanos snap. Yeah.
Has there ever been a point where you maybe thought of quitting?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
You said you hit a wall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that was actually it. Just all of it together was just, I don't know. I just felt like I was kind of losing my love for cooking. I was kind of like just beat. I burned myself really bad that week too. I like the worst I've ever injured myself in the kitchen. I dumped like 40 quarts of boiling water like all over my leg into my shoe.
Jesus.
Oh
wait, I think I saw. Yeah, like the.
There are pictures. It's like grubs of a blister. It was
like a big ass one.
It was
remember
gnarly.
seeing it on. Yeah,
it was gnarly.
So that time, wow.
But just all that mixed with just what
life.
I said about all that, and then life, and I felt like my relationship was suffering. I felt like my dogs were upset. I feel like everything kind of falls to the wayside to like keep this place functioning.
Right.
And I'm kind of a perfectionist too, so you just like never let go.
Okay.
But when I was out on injury, I was like, and it was funny because I was talking to Nelson's daughter, and she was like, "You're really unhappy there." She's 8 right at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." And she's like, "You should quit." Like,
it's amazing what a little kid sometimes can make.
Well, she sees right through it.
Yeah, and this is all during 2020, right?
This was last year.
Last year? No.
Pretty much a year ago. Just over a year
You know what's
ago.
funny? There was obviously people have been watching the news, or news is popping up more on social media and stuff like that. But there was last year, in like the end of 2020, there was like this great resignation movement going on where everybody was quitting.
Right at the time where I was doing it, I was like, same thing. I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna start doing stuff for myself, and then same thing. Like,
everybody else is quitting,
and then you see it all over the news, and you're like, okay, you are one of millions. And you're like, cool.
And it makes you wonder, like, wow, how much bigger the world is, or the issue is, like. Whatever your dogs, you said, they're mad at me or something.
Well, no, I just feel like I've abandoned all the responsibilities for what?
Sometimes you have to reset.
Yeah.
You have to sit down and reset, and then get a different perspective. Well,
I read something too that like and I would do the same thing. Like people are like, well, what are you doing next week? And I'm like, oh, I'm working. But it becomes like a cool thing, or like to be on the grind.
Yeah.
And to have
now
jobs,
it is.
And like it's like
the last couple of years, like hustle. I was like,
I feel like it goes in waves though.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, oh, you gotta get the grind, gotta get the hustle, and then all of a sudden it's like mental health break. And honestly, I think
if you don't have anything extra, if you're not like progressing,
and
you're still just like hamster wheeling.
That's right. Yeah.
That I think that's one of those things where people are afraid of. That's why they'll talk down to you about what you're doing, kind of thing. Like working at the movie theater, our busiest times are the weekends. So when all my friends from in my 20s were like, "Hey, you want to hang out this weekend?" It's like, no, I'm working. To the point where like, "Hey, do you want to?" Oh wait, never mind. You're working.
They didn't even bother.
And I'm like, you guys do realize, if you don't, it's funny because we get people, even customers come in, they're like, "Oh my God, you're open on Christmas Day. I didn't think you would be open on Christmas Day."
You're like, yeah, I know.
I was like, notice how full the lobby is right now. Like,
you're here.
It's our busiest. It's one of our busiest days.
So you must be Jewish.
Yeah. So, but it's funny though, because like,
just get my family out of my house. Let's go outside.
Yeah. Let's not talk to each other for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that's why I always imagine people like they're tired of each other, so they come to the movies to like kind of separate each other a little bit. Yeah.
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 We know, Grandma.
Yeah. Back in my day, we used to be $2 for a movie. I don't know. How old is the grandma now? Oh, let's see. Yeah, I've heard quarter for a soda. I've heard $1.25 for a movie ticket. Yeah, it's
even with the inflation stuff. Just in our lifetime, it's astounding. But now I feel like we're like, oh, I remember when like gas was $3 a gallon. But imagine when it was like.
Well, when we probably started working, I remember starting working at minimum wage at $6.75 an hour.
Yeah,
same here. When I started 14 to 15.
I was 16 when I first got my job.
Yeah, something like that. And then after that, it just kept going. I was like, oh, okay,
When did you first start working?
I was 15.
You're 15. Okay, so you're the good.
It was at Timmy T's Pizza downtown.
Dude, I forgot about Timmy T's.
It's PPK West now.
Dude, I forgot about Timmy T's.
With the peanuts on the floor.
Oh shit!
Yeah, holy shit!
Oh my God,
brain explosion. How do you guys feel about if you would do it again?
In a heartbeat. I don't know.
No, like, do you guys think it's necessary for kids to start working at an early age?
Yes.
Yeah.
It depends. If it's in addition to like school, like on the side, that'll kind of give them an idea of like, kind of what we do as adults now is having a main job source and then doing something on the side for a hustle. You always want to be constantly learning and expanding.
But do you think that like a part-time job like bagging groceries or something might take away from maybe something else that they're passionate from, that instead of working they could have maybe done something else like a club or something where
You
they
should
could
have
have
taken an aptitude test.
or you know, like just find a job somehow connected to the things that they're interested in.
right.
Yeah, and I think that's our job as parents too. Like if our kids are going to be getting jobs, your kid probably 4 years, 5 years, probably something paper route if there's even paper anymore.
She's 11 now. I don't know. I've rethought about it because I feel like I didn't further pursue anything else that I might like when I was in high school, because it was immediately like, oh, you're 16, you should get a job, make your own money. Mm-hmm. Granted, I'm pretty sure my parents couldn't afford to like put me in other stuff even if I wanted to. Right. But I felt like it was this constant, like, as soon as you hit life points, or not life points, I'm sorry, like I think
gamer terms.
Yeah, I know. That's wrong. Oops. No, as soon as you hit.
I'm just picturing like 3 like Mario's.
No, I'm thinking. I'm thinking of like Legend of Zelda Hearts. Oh. Like, anyway, milestone points.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. As soon as you hit the milestone, it's like, oh, I'm getting closer to being an adult. I have to start acting like an adult, or I need to start doing this.
See, that's one of the things that like bugs the hell out of me, because there's times where I'm like talking to friends and stuff like that. We still 18. We feel like 18. We're talking or whatever. Mm-hmm. We'll be talking, random shit. Yeah. Anime, big example on how adults now is okay to act like a kid, or what they think.
Well, that's kind of coming back around to it, because I feel like the way that our parents like raised us, because of the way that their parents raised them, blah blah. Now we're kind of correct that whole thing.
Yeah, we are.
But it was like, okay, it's time to
because
grow
like
up.
Yeah, exactly. And like I always tell Miguel, I tell a lot of people, I was not going to be caught dead talking Dragon Ball Z during high school, because I'm like, I'm not gonna, nobody. It was kind of like there was a certain group.
My Yu-Gi-Oh cards were put away every time.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't bring out the
classroom.
You didn't bring out the dual disc.
Yeah. Shame.
Yeah. And so like I remember one time I went to GameStop and
he's all secretly kind of looking over there, but not wanting to look over here.
Well, it was actually like 2 years ago. I went to GameStop and I was going to go pick up a pre-order. Yeah. Surprise. What was different to me though, it's because like you said, you don't feel like you're a certain age sometimes. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm 18 because I just haven't like grown up out of certain things that was expected to. In my dad's eyes, I was expected to not like certain things after a certain age. And I was walking up to the parking lot and I see some high school kids, like a group of them. They're like kind of chilling in the parking lot. Yeah. And it was, I think, a total of like 6 of them. There was 4 dudes and 2 girls. And granted, these 2 girls looked like how I would say in like if I was in high school, if we were in high school, they were like probably popular in crowd. And so did the 2 other boys that they were like hanging up on. Yeah. But the 2 last boys were lightsaber fighting right in front of that group of friends. And I'm like, never in our life, and when we were in high school, would those 2 things ever cross?
It's getting cooler to be weird now.
It is. Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's cool and I like it. But at the same time, I was kind of exactly
on a video podcast.
I'm gonna wear this all day.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it'd be like, hey, she's getting ready. All right. And like the thing that annoyed me.
You look different today.
Did you do some of your hair? What bugged me though, because I'm like, man, they're lucky, because that wouldn't have been done. I'm like looking at them, staring them down, like the old man staring them down. I'm like, we paved the way for you. I did that. I didn't talk about Dragon Ball Z because I wanted a girlfriend.
Yeah. Back in my day, we kept it to ourselves.
We turned Super Saiyan in the gym.
We water bended in the shower.
We're damaged.
There's a part of me like I'm hoping you're getting everything, because like again the stereotype was the guys were the nerds back in the day. So, so if you know airbending and all stuff,
I know enough guys and enough nerds and.
See, there you go. At this point, I just let it out. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I don't care. I'm me now.
Say it to the camera, man.
This is me now.
I think that's like a good point about growing up, though. I think eventually, like, it's okay to just like what you like and like not really care about everybody. What people think. Yeah. Because back then we're so in our heads and like so concerned about what we're doing, what people think that we're trying to do. Yeah.
We're also always being judged by our parents. So that most of us. I don't know if that kind of went with you. We frequently talk about.
Yeah, we frequently talk about only because we're with similar backgrounds, Mexican background.
backgrounds,
So
yeah.
it's like, there's a lot of things like so yesterday my wife was telling me, was like, babe, you have a lot of things that you didn't experience as a child. Because if I look back, we were broke. We were broke when I was a kid. I didn't feel broke because I didn't really experience a lot of the things that the other kids were experiencing, like going to Disneyland and getting every single game console they freaking wanted, stuff like that. So for me, I wasn't missing out, and I wasn't, you don't think you're missing out until someone tells you, hey, you're missing out.
Right, yeah.
Out
of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So like when she's mentioning things she did as a kid, I was like, okay, like we can do that. Like, let's go. It'll be my first time. It's like, what? Yeah. I've never been in snow. Still.
You haven't? Still?
No, yeah.
Never?
The first time I went to Disneyland, I was 20.
Yeah, that's right. You did tell us that.
Yeah. And it's just like, there's like a lot of things. The first time on an airplane, I was 23. The first actual live concert I went to, I was like 25. Like, it's just, my 20s were really great,
The best decade of my life.
Yeah. So growing up, did you feel like you had everything you needed? Did you like?
Yeah, I mean, my parents got divorced when I was really young. So there was like obviously like the back and forth kind of like with that, and it's like always in transit. Two Christmases,
Yeah.
Which was cool. And like my grandparents were still around too, so sometimes there was 4.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How was the? What was? Do you guys have a schedule? Was there like a set schedule on where you would?
I'm pretty sure it was like every other weekend.
Okay.
With my dad, and then like kind of back and forth whenever.
Did they still live like in Paso?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. My mom was dating, and my dad kind of dated a little bit, but he will never get remarried. Kind of funny. Actually, it's not really funny.
I mean, as long as he still fights comfort or something.
It leaves a mark, man. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's to the eyes of the beholder, I guess. Like like we might think. I don't know. Does he wish that he would remarry, or do you wish he would remarry?
I don't think so. I think he's like, fuck all bitches. Never again. He's like, never again.
Right.
No.
Okay, so obviously it hurt him probably a little more than.
And even just like for me to like see that, to like watch her be able to remarry, and then watch him kind of like be okay, like being solo, and he's fine, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does he seem happy?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's.
No.
I mean, I'm sure it is in your perspective hard to see that.
I feel like I would not remarry if I separated.
Yeah.
Like I've thought, like for some reason, you think like the worst things. Like I'm sure you have thoughts about your kids. Like, what if something happens to your kid? Like, how would you react? And you think you'd be like drop on your knees, like no, just random things, or like quiet, or like just one tear, like a Mexican,
novela style.
Novella style. Anyway, but I thought about it. Everyone was like, what if we just separate? Like, what would happen? Like, I would not remarry. Like, that's in my head. I would be like, no.
Well, let me tell you, since it already happened to me once.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, this is my second marriage. I do have this like internal rule of 3 strikes you're out.
So you got one more?
No, actually, no. That's the thing though. It's things that come in conversation. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again. Yeah. At that point, I wouldn't even wait for 3 strikes. If this one didn't work out, I'd be like, all right, I'm kind of done it. I have my 3 kids. I'm kind of done. I don't need it.
That's kind of what I saw with my dad, because like my mom wanted him to have kids,
right?
And he was kind of like, nah, like whatever. And then now, like, I am the woman in my dad's life,
right?
You know what I mean? Okay. So like now we're homies, and like now like we have each other. So like it's funny that like he didn't really even want kids, but like now he's my bestie.
Yeah.
So at this point, he like, why else would he need anything else, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's cool you have a relationship with him like that.
Yep, and all my dogs. He's like granddad to my dogs.
Oh well, then there you go. You got a babysitter.
Yeah.
God. So when I first got a dog for a short period of time, we gave it away to a family friend, because the kid was about to come around. I didn't want to have a dog around, kind of thing. I don't know. It was just one of those things where like too much responsibility.
Well, yeah,
they're more. Yeah. They're like kids.
I think if I had to pick between a dog and my kid, I'd just stick with my kid.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. If that went any other way,
you just see me in the corner flipping a coin. What are you doing? Nothing.
Two-facing it.
It's a really cool dog.
But It licks my head. I don't know. It eats the food off the floor. I never have to vacuum.
It's nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
It is nice because now, like, if you don't have a dog and something falls, you're just like, I'm gonna have to pick that up.
I need to buy a broom.
No.
Babies,
This is what happens. You tell your kids, can you pick that up?
Oh.
Yeah. So for a while, my sister has a dog still. She has a what are those weird dogs called with long bodies but short legs?
The big ones,
wiener
dogs?
No, not wiener dogs.
The Basset Hound?
No, they have like a
Dachshunds?
Regular face.
Oh, corgi?
Corgi. Yeah, I couldn't think
They
of
have the
word
cutest
for some
butts.
they look like a loaf of bread walked
They
away.
do.
It is kind of cute though.
Little butt floof.
So it was funny when it was a puppy and it would pee, it would just stand up still, like it wouldn't sit down to pee.
Yeah, it's not even worth teaching those little short dogs to even sit because, like, why?
It can't.
It doesn't even
it's too
change.
long.
Its ass is
As a
already
puppy,
sitting down, basically.
it was such a weird shape as a puppy. It was like long and it would just start peeing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing like that? Because my dog, hey, I gotta go start squatting, and I'm like, no, go outside. No, this dog, you couldn't tell when it was gonna go pee. But anyway, so my sister had a dog and then I had a dog. So every time they would make fun of my mom for being a fur baby grandma or something, or fur grandma or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, we have kids now.
Trademark it, so
yeah, fur grandma.
I just call them the grand dogs.
Grand dogs.
Yeah, grand dogs. So she's like, how? And they were like, so how are your grandbabies, whatever? And she's like, oh, whatever. Because I mean, I was 28 before we found out we got pregnant. So it's like, I was in my 20s. My sister was in her 20s. We neither of us were having kids yet. My brother, doubt he's ever gonna have a kid. You know, he's got to get his shit together first. You know,
he might just out of nowhere, like he
I don't know,
had a kid.
Probably. We never know. But he's a smart guy. He'll wrap it up. Or use gravity to his advantage. I don't know.
I thought you wrap up being silly, but I got what you meant.
No,
yeah. He's not a fool. He wraps his tool kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's another phrase I forgot. It's really catchy.
Pull out method.
No glove, no love.
Wrap it up before you smack it up.
Continue, Miguel.
Anyway,
about the dogs.
So about the dogs, the cute butt dogs. So yeah, my mom was made fun of a lot, and now she has three grandkids. My sister, I don't know if it's a competition, but she had two like right after we had one. I'm like, sweet Jesus, calm down. But now now she's grandma, so it was interesting to see that turn. I'm guessing you have dogs. You said you don't have kids.
I don't have kids.
Nope.
I just have a lot of animals.
Any plans for more animals?
No.
And zoom in on that one.
Yeah. So, how many animals do you have? What are they, and what are the names?
I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, and I have 4 leopard geckos.
Oh, yeah.
Just throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 leopard
Sounds
geckos.
a lot like my house, but
yeah. Beasley, Yodi, and Rue are the dogs. Yodi and Rue are 8. Beasley is 3. That was a quarantine decision.
Mm.
Don't do that.
I wish I can go back in time and do that.
If you want her, you can have her.
No, like go back in time and not do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got a dog on quarantine time too?
My wife's idea, yeah, but
Oh my goodness.
At the time, it seemed like there was going to be ample time to do all the things.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Oh yeah. When we first shut down, I told myself, I don't think I told anyone. Yeah, I just told myself, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this shutdown seriously. I'm gonna work out every single day, and in is introduced the Tiger King, and then after that, binge watch Netflix. You know, I just couldn't get off the couch.
Failure, you know, just like I'm just gonna watch this train wreck.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know what the first episode. I can't remember the first episode, but it just hooked me.
Honestly, I can't remember. I can only remember plot points. I don't remember the series anymore.
I just remember the memes part now for the most part, and like
we're never gonna
All the
financially
Halloween
recover from this.
You know?
Yeah.
He's all,
But I mean, I think anybody would.
Carol Baskin. I don't know who Carol Baskin is, but I started hating her after
I don't even know this
that
bitch,
show.
but
I don't even know her.
I'm like, that bitch killed her husband. And
then
she for sure
and
did.
then I see her on her own like YouTube channels, like "Hello, cats and kittens." I'm like, "Yep, I definitely hate her."
No, yeah.
Cool cats and kittens.
It's
Yeah,
so
all
funny when
cool
it's so
cats and kittens,
obvious, but like they don't have the proof or whatever. But it was
I mean, yeah.
painfully obvious.
Yeah, like
that
her
something
husband
happened.
just disappeared.
Just-
Like, what?
And then she laughs about it.
Yeah,
She laughs
she's
about
like,
it. Would you?
My husband did not
Oh, yeah.
disappear. You know, there's a thing like psychological or whatever. You can So there's this person who they were interviewing this person who killed like their husband or something, and they would ask her like really serious questions, but she would like smile or like just brush it off. And then when they asked her something like, "Did you enjoy killing him?" I was like, "No, of course I did." And she was nodding up and down, like you can like when they say something and they're not, and they say no, but they're nodding this, like they like something.
I'm sure that's like how you pass a lie detector test too, because like if your body's saying yes, even though your mouth is saying no, then it's like maybe your brain waves aren't lying.
Like
If you believe it, you're not lying.
Yeah, somebody said it's like if you think of something that gets you angry, you can pass a lie detector test. Just every time they ask you a question, just get angry.
Just mess up all your questions.
Mess it up. Yeah.
You guys ever been like an impulsive liar? And eventually, you just wonder if they just really believe everything they say, even though
every once in a while when I look in the mirror.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah.
You again.
I'm not a sir. I'm
a
queen.
Today I am Mrs. Nesbitt. Oh man. So we know you don't have kids of your own.
Nope.
And you are in a relationship with somebody who has kids, correct?
Yeah. So I used to have like a really strict no kids rule, just because.
Hey, you know what you want.
Yeah.
Well, and then also you're not sure about their mom, and if
you have to fight
she's
someone.
gonna hate you just for being around or whatever. And I can imagine if I was a mother and there was like some rando girl in my dude's life, then around my kids and stuff, that just makes for potential weirdness.
So I know, like in my case, when we had a divorce, my daughter was turning 2. Or actually separated because we didn't get a divorce until like official divorce until like time passed. But by that time we were separated, and we were split 50-50. So it was a week on with her and a week on without, and that was my 20s. That was my 20s. It was my so. I was in this weird space in where I can enjoy single life, like on the weeks that I didn't have her, and then I'd be full on dad mode when I would have her, and I made that
culture shock.
Yeah. It was, but you know what? It was funny because it was still more dad mode than single life, because I was always at like the drop of the hat. I would, if anything were to happen, I would have. Who wouldn't want more spend time, but more time with your kid?
Yeah.
So when it came time to. Maybe when I was thinking about, because you kind of go through like, oh fuck it, I'm not gonna get in a relationship anymore. Forget this. I'm gonna do that. Time passes, and you're like, all right, maybe let's dabble in it a little bit. And what would come up is like, all right, well now I have to think about I'm not gonna say perfect's the wrong word, but like a good match to.
Well, yeah, someone who's either was able to accept you in your lifestyle and like be a good like role model or so, and still be in a space where they probably maybe or may not want more kids if you have a bunch. So like there has to be like a lot of things that
acceptance was a lot of it, and of course accepting that, all right, well let's see how this is gonna go. So that's how I knew it, but I never really thought about it from the opposite way of like going into somebody that had kids, because I actually never dated anybody who had kids. I only did once, but we didn't get far enough to the girls to meet. So how was it? So you originally said you didn't want not even anybody with kids, right?
No, and I had dated somebody before I met Nelson that had a kid, and like their relationship, the baby mama and him like was tumultuous. So no matter what, like
nothing was gonna go the way
it was never gonna be cool. But I met the kids fairly early on because I had dogs, and you can like meet them in like a really kind of like social, funny way, and. All my dogs have funny names, so they were like little, and I was like, "This is Ruben Scoobin," and I thought it was super funny.
Right.
But I don't know. I love them; they're great.
Right, that's good.
I wouldn't do it again because of how attached I am to them now, and I know like not being married and like we're kind of like on again, off again sort of thing. So I know that like
they come with the package deal.
They're the package deal, and it's like being in a relationship with 3 people, not just one. There's times where I feel like I've stuck around maybe longer than I should have because I wanted to be in their life.
But it's
so there's like all these like weird little angles.
So it's a weird. I mean, it's a good point you bring up. I at one point had something like this conversation with my wife. We don't really talk about it too much, but I mean, when I was dating her, it was kind of the same thing where I had to think about or even she had to accept like you're essentially, especially when you're getting married, you're gaining a kid. You're not having a kid. You're gaining one. And I mean, I have 2 kids with my wife now. And so I don't remember how we got into this conversation, but you have your blood child, and then they're like stepchild. Oops,
Yeah.
your stepchild.
Well, it's how they all fit together too.
Right. And one thing that she had expressed to me was with your kids that you have, they kind of you immediately love them. They immediately love you. With the other kid, it almost feels like you have to work double. You have to make sure they love you because you want to be a great person in their life. And not only that, to the family, to the ex, if it's a tumultuous one, or just how involved it is. Did you have to go through a lot of that as well?
Not really. Not really. I feel like
It was easy.
it was all pretty seamless.
How about the relationship with the kids? Was there? They were little, right? When that happened?
When I met them, they were like 3 and like 8. But I feel like too, because they had been, I think it was like a fairly recent kind of separation, and he was living by himself, and I'm sure as a dad who's been in that state, mom's house is always cozier.
Right.
And mom has all the cool stuff.
Right.
Right. And even in my parents' divorce too, I would go to my mom's house and I have all my cushy stuff, and I go to my dad's and it was kind of all the crap that I sort of brought there to kind of furnish my room.
Got it.
It always kind of felt kind of I don't know.
I'm just thinking about a sleepover. I'm just here for a night.
No, really, because everything you brought was in a bag, and you didn't bring the right amount of underwear. But at mom's house, there's all the socks.
Stocked. Stocked.
Yeah. So I think that I kind of brought a cozy, comfy sort of
area with
thing
them.
to dad's house, or but no, got super. They're both really beautiful, well-adjusted, really smart kids. I always kind of joke that if I were to get pregnant or something, I'm sure that my kid would not be so well-adjusted. You know what I mean? I'm sure I have the one that's climbing the walls or being a weirdo or something, but.
Maybe.
Were you a weirdo as a kid?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
You probably get 2 different responses from your parents.
Yeah. Both of them are oh no, we didn't need another one because you were enough. And I was I didn't drink in high school. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do anything. I definitely was doing boy stuff or whatever, but I don't think that I was necessarily a handful.
Yeah. I just remember you from high school just by passing by. I don't think we ever. I think we only had one class together, if I remember correctly. That's about it.
Yeah.
Why were you weird? Were you a weirdo?
Probably. My mom tells me things I did, and I don't know who you're talking about. So yeah, you used to climb. No, I'm afraid of heights. I don't know what you're talking about. I am afraid of heights. I eat clammy and everything.
See, the thing is that
I
nobody
probably did fall at one time.
The thing is, nobody was around when you're practicing Super Saiyan to call you a weirdo.
That is true.
I'm an only child, so I'm sure that I was probably just in there having a little conversation with myself or something.
Hey, those are the best
not Tea Party? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I know they are.
They're some of the best conversations, and you win every argument, by the way.
If you're losing every argument, then you're a weirdo.
Then you're weirdo.
That's when you're a weirdo. If you're losing,
it's like, what's wrong? It's I don't want to talk about it.
I'm serious. Conversations in the shower.
That's
a thing for me.
Those
Someone comes over, they're like, oh my God, close the door.
The shower?
Well, I have to make sure that my wife's not around to hear the echo in there, or else I have some explaining to do. Which I had no problem doing it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm just talking to myself. I am rehearsing lines that I'll probably never say. It's just something I just do. So
that's fun. Yeah, I win a lot of arguments in the shower, for sure.
Made up arguments that you might have some with your wife.
Yeah, based on
if she ever says this.
Yeah, if she ever says this to me, the shampoo bottles are like.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. I saw a TikTok video where this guy, you couldn't see the rest of the room, but he was this is my house. I pay the bills and all that stuff. And as the camera gets closer and pans to the rest of the room, there's nobody there. It's that's what I'm gonna tell her when she gets home. He's just practicing, and I'm I feel that would be me doing that. And but in Spanish for some reason. Aquí yo mando en la casa.
I don't know, something in Spanish sometimes sounds worse.
Yeah.
Or more.
It sounds more serious or fierce because all the vowels,
I don't know.
So, have you worked with a lot of Spanish speaking people in the restaurant world?
Yeah.
Especially around here, yeah.
Especially
I think just in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they hold it down.
Yeah.
They hold it
A
down.
lot of like there's times where I go to a restaurant and like there'll be like regular like jazz music or something playing, but then you go to the restroom and like on your way to the restroom you hear the kitchen and and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I need to go back there. That looks like a party.
I'm gonna go get like we have tacos because they're even better.
Oh, dude, whoa.
Too far.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, I took a lot of Spanish in high school, and I never really set in until I started working in kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I can speak Spanish if I'm immersed in it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand Spanish for the most part. But if I start trying to speak it while not immersed in it,
What did you say? What did you say in the last episode? Remember when we were talking about accents?
A lot of things.
Yeah, no, but remember we were talking about accents, and there's like a word that like
gets
you going?
Yeah, the your trick word.
Yeah, do you have like? Is there like some sort of like trick?
Well, that's if she's trying to like.
Well, I guess the kitchen would be. I guess the kitchen would be like
define.
So when the actors are trying to do a trick word, there's a word that they have that they can easily say it in that accent. So they'll say it over and over again until the accent kind of sticks in their brain, and then they start.
In order to like.
Yeah. So I was seeing the show called Crush It on Peacock, and it's the guy who played Daryl on The Office, the black guy.
Okay.
Craig Robinson.
I always forget his name.
I said it wrong.
I'm just
like
gonna
a
say Greg.
Spanish word that's heavily accented so that he can kind of like get into.
No, the person he was with on the show was she's Australian, so she was trying to get rid of her Australian accent and do an American accent, and her trick word was hot dog, but the way she was saying it was hot dog. Hot dog. And she just kept repeating that hot dog. I got it. It's like, don't ever do that. It's like just don't talk at all. So yeah, no. I guess what Walter was asking is like if you have like a trick word to kind of give you that accent.
Not so much the accent, just that like you said, you feel like
start talking.
So speaking Spanish, you feel like you speak Spanish. Like
do you ever have to speak Spanish? To be honest,
yeah,
like can you speak in English and they understand you?
Sometimes no.
No.
Sometimes they play dumb though.
Yeah.
Well,
no sé.
So
I told you to move that dish or something, right?
Say
to the camera. Say it to the camera.
They fucking say. They do know.
They're going to be listening. Cabrona, si sabe.
Chingado.
They do.
Buscar chamba.
I know. I'll even like write the prep list in Spanish. And you know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, mira, yo no soy pendeja.
So these three guys walk in the other day, a couple of days ago at the theater, and they walk in and they ask, does somebody speak Spanish first? I'm like, yeah, I can help you. And he goes, do you guys need help in the kitchen? And then I'm just like,
in English?
No, in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
No, necesitan cocineros?
You're like, there's no kitchen.
And I'm just like,
inside the popcorn machine?
Es que no tenemos
Cocina.
You know, no tenemos cocina, nomás tenemos las palomitas. And I was trying to explain, like, he's like, oh, okay, so nada? I'm like, no, like, I don't know.
They're just trying to look for work.
Yeah, but they were like doing the rounds. They were going to every single restaurant. And, do you guys ever have like random guys trying to get work?
Yeah.
That confident?
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's when you need that job.
Yeah.
Well, and at the time, like we needed people because like we didn't have anybody who wanted to work, and they always come in like with the resume that looks like it's legit, you know. We hired these two guys off the street one time, and pretty sure
she's picking her words here.
yeah.
They
had a background in some illegal activies. I'm pretty
on their
sure.
resume.
Not on their resume.
I was gonna say the confidence is like, yeah, I've stolen before. Yeah. What do you want me to do? He's like, oh my god.
No, but just I don't know. And they could cook, and they were, you know, but they would just kind of like chill. And I'm like,
you gotta keep an extra eye just
well, and I'm a white girl,
yeah,
and I'm the boss, I'm the chef. Yeah. It's my zone.
Yeah.
They don't fucking like that.
Yeah,
right.
You know, but I always try to like run my kitchen where I am working harder and faster, and I will help you do whatever.
No,
but don't be an asshole.
No.
How often do you see like a woman in charge of like a restaurant?
I feel like it's becoming more of a thing. I feel like there's at least like 5 in the area. But for a while, not so much. Forever, I was like, I swear, I was like one of the only girls in the kitchen all the time. They're just like dudes duding all the time.
I've noticed there's a lot of
I like that.
Dudes duding everywhere all the time.
Dudes duding all the time.
Like
my
cleaning
wife's
up all their stuff and
just make sure you have Clorox wipes with you.
Like having a bunch of like shitty boyfriends or like older brothers. That you're just like, dude, like come on.
I mean, it's good. I think it's good when I start to see more like woman representation and like a lot more things, and
trying to get points here, aren't you?
I mean, my wife's a manager. I mean, I have to. Yeah. Well, I mean, we have daughters, dude.
Yeah.
And
I think she's gonna be a killer. I mean, like in business world, I think. So she already does negotiations with me.
Right.
Your daughter?
I get home.
Oh, well, his daughter.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking to his daughter.
I was like, what's she gonna swindle you out of?
Yo, she got me out of $50. I don't know how. I was like,
dude, what the fuck?
She got all my Halloween candy in the bag still.
She's trying to resell that thing. Anyway, no, I get home and she likes my phone because I don't put any limitations on what she watches there, so she can just keep going. Plus, I hate it because when I'm watching my stuff on YouTube and stuff, I don't want limitations. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I get home, like I'll shower, get ready for like just end of the day kind of stuff, and then I go change her pamper. And as I'm talking to her, she's like, "All right, so we're gonna hang out in the living room." She goes, "Yeah." You're gonna watch TV? She goes, "Yeah." And then like a few seconds later, she goes, "How about I play on your phone and you watch TV?" I'm like, "No. How about
you go to bed and give me your phone?
How about you talk to the back of my?"
I'm old school, like, because I usually just say, "All right, then you get nothing."
No, at some point,
that's what I was like.
At some point, it becomes nothing.
I am not gonna let you.
No, she'll do that, and then she goes, and then she learned 5 minutes, like 5 minutes. She doesn't. She still can't tell like the time relative to the actual like phrase 5 minutes. I'll be like, "Yeah, go on your playpen for 5 minutes." It's like, okay. 20 minutes later, I'm like, "Okay, you got 2 more minutes left." But yeah, she's starting to negotiate with me.
Sounds like you're soft.
Oh, I am. No.
That's my baby girl.
I am. No, I think I'm terrible at negotiations. There's times where, like, even in just the regular
whatever
world,
you want, just please don't cry.
even in the regular world, they'll be like, "Oh, we got it." Like, if I go to a mechanic, I'll be charged up the butt because I don't know anything about cars.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, sure. How long does it take? Okay. Like, I'm not. But yet, when I go with somebody else, that who knows, like, just oil change.
I always just call my dad because I walk into like an auto parts store and I'm like, "Oh God, blonde's behind the wheel," and I'm like, "You're right. So this is my dad. He will fight you." No.
My wife gets so pissed when anybody thinks that she. Well, see, my wife is really smart. For the record, no, I'm just kidding. She hates when everybody treats her like she wouldn't know about anything.
Yeah.
And so like that's like an instant put off with me. It's probably why I'm like so perfect, like. Or match for her. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna hype myself up here a little bit. No.
This is probably why she deserves me.
I made a good match. I was picking my words and I chose wrong.
No.
I'm always like, oh yeah, whenever she's like, it's supportive.
Yeah.
She's very, very supportive. But she absolutely hates it when somebody's like, dealing with like car dealerships and stuff.
Do you ever feel too supportive? Like, does she give you like a hint? Like, you gotta disagree with me at some point here.
No, because I'm not just being a yes man to her.
Okay.
But I do feel like sometimes when I do make my own decisions, I'm like, this is exactly why I don't fucking make my own decisions.
I mean, that's obvious. It comes with being a husband kind of thing, I think. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like, you don't imagine it happening to you, but you see it in the movies, and it does happen, like small things.
There's been one time where she said, "You like everything I put on." I'm like, "Well, yes."
Because if I say something,
no, because she's like, "How does this look like?" I'm like, "Hey, that looks pretty cool."
Yeah,
but I will try to like indulge and be like, you know what? No, that color, I like the other color better.
Yeah,
like
there's something like that's not just like blind support,
right?
Right. Like I try to at least establish that, but I also have to be like real, where I'm like, okay, that kind of did look good on you. Like I can't be like, nah, that was, I'm not an asshole. That's just, I think that's the hard thing about it. I'm just not.
Yeah,
instinctively. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. So many are.
What? We're gonna go down the road in a second.
I guess going back to the kids thing. I had a friend one time express to me. I had a conversation with the whole kids, and like, she said that one of the harder things about dating somebody that had kids already was getting too attached to the kids to the point where like breaking up or the thought of breaking up was super hard, because it's not so much like, oh, I'm losing the boyfriend, whatever. It's like, oh no, I'm losing the kid.
No, you lose the whole thing.
You lose the whole thing.
Well, yeah. On top of that, it's also like a part of your daily thing, right? Like,
Yeah. And it's like this. And for me, it was like Insta family. Like I feel like I've always wanted kids, but it's just never happened for me or whatever. So it's kind of like Insta family.
Are you going to a point to where did you always want to have your own kids?
I feel like when I was young, like I just want to be a mom, da-da-da.
Right.
And after I got into cooking, I was kind of like, no, like I'm just gonna, because if you're working that much, like I don't want someone else to raise my kids. And I don't want to be the one that's working and have like a stay-at-home husband or something. I'm sure that sounds really good.
I would like. That would be kind of.
I would
cool,
like that too.
My wife makes more money than me, so it's getting closer. It's getting closer.
And like childcare and stuff, I don't know, just on the horizon, it always seems like a lot, but you always end up figuring it out.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, if it were to happen, I'd be into it, but I've been on like the hope and pray method for like 16 years and never a blip. So either I'm broken, or I like to call it divine contraception.
But
that can be a shirt.
That's good, right?
That could be a shirt.
I swear I've got like my grandpa up there, and he's like, no, nope. Got birth control from the heavens.
I'm just picturing like a cross.
I'm just picturing like an angel with like a turkey baster.
God. Gross. Anyway.
Yeah, Miguel.
I know.
Come on, Miguel.
There's better tools than that.
I was gonna say that's usually for the opposite.
I know. I just don't know enough about cooking, so I don't want to know what object you would use to.
I think you ditched the idea.
Yeah, I ditched the idea. So
anyway,
when you're cooking, and for some reason I remember seeing the movie last holiday with Queen Latifah, and it was the restaurant scene where she goes and she's looking over the menu, and then the order for one of the tables that's full comes in, but they all have what's it called? Know this, know that, all adjustments or modifications. There you go. And then the chef was like, "Oh, what's this? Then they don't want cheese on an omelet. What does that mean? Like, whatever." and then he sees her ticket, because the last holiday, I don't know if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, it's about her thinking she's gonna die, so she's spending all her money. Oh, so she goes to this nice hotel with a nice restaurant, all top of the line. She orders everything off the menu, no adjustments or anything. And he goes, so the chef decides to come out and like meet her and stuff like that. And then he like shushes the other table, because they were like, they're important. Like, hey, chef. And he goes and sits on the other table. Adjustments. How are you on those? Like, do people when they're really picky, are you like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
What's the worst? What's the worst one?
Oh my God. I mean, even with nowadays with everybody's allergies, it's really hard, because you want to be like, they're like no cheese, or like something that like the integral part of the dish is dairy.
No, you said that.
You're like, I want the cream of mushroom soup or whatever, but like don't garnish it with the cheese, and you're like,
but it's dairy.
Then order something else.
Didn't you hear cream in there?
And I'm always like, is it allergy or a preference? And it's important to know or whatever. But I had a chef that when I first started cooking that it would get busy and he would get mad and like start throwing shit. And he would like 86. So I mean, like, no, but he'd be like, so 86 special needs. So like 86, any sort of like extra request. He would get mad and just be like you
can pretty much veto it.
I will not modify anything for the next hour.
Yeah.
So you like got to your table and you're like,
so
I asked for no. Well, it makes me wonder is like if they can't have a lot of the things or some of the things, you think they'd just order something different.
Well, you think, but people that have those sort of like specifications, sometimes they just want
to be involved,
or they just want something good. They don't want a salad,
Yeah,
or it's a power move.
No,
you know what?
No. Sometimes I think it's that too, or sometimes I think they just don't like realize that it's them, not like the other people, right? Like maybe you are the problem. Like maybe you're expecting too much out of like, maybe you should just start cooking if that's not your thing.
You'd think.
But I mean, there's the whole dining experience, going out with people.
Well,
I
and,
try to write my menus like that now, where I will not put gluten where it doesn't need to be.
okay.
I will try to find some flavor, or like at least have like an
alternative.
Yeah, like a backup plan.
Yeah.
It's already thought out, instead of having to give somebody some like dissected dish that like a piece.
So you're heavy on specification then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try to do that now because it is
I wish
really
more
frustrating.
restaurants were like that.
Yeah.
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 My wife, she likes to use a lot of natural stuff and tries to avoid like a lot of sugar and stuff like that. So she used alternatives. She made meatballs one time without meat. She used eggplant, and I was like, "Fuck, these are good." I couldn't stop eating. I'm like, I didn't know I like vegetables that much. I'm like no vegetables.
No
Really?
veggies.
There was a time we went to my mom's house and she made us burgers, and I took a bite and I see like onion in the meat, and I was like, and my wife sees that, just eat it, and I'm like, I just don't like vegetables. Like it's not nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't know why. I just don't like vegetables.
I started eating more vegetables now that I'm with my wife than any other time. We Mexicans don't really eat much vegetables.
No, it was a lot of carbs and starches for sure.
Yeah, the vegetables. Actually, when you look at the plate, it looks more like a luxury sometimes when you have a lot of vegetables.
Oh yeah, I think that's why. Like subconsciously
so.
Or like deep down, like old heritage kind of thing. Like the only reason you have vegetables on your plate is because you have money or something.
Huh.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think. I mean, if you think about like food back then,
it's access to fresh things and not like
fresh, farm to table kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love vegetables.
You have vegetables in your arm, don't you?
I do. I've got like a full veggie seat.
Like, which one am I going to use today?
It's kind of funny. No, but I love like people that have aversions like that, and I like to try to make them like veggies that they would like. There's a lot of times when people are averted to it, it's either because their mom used to make some jacked up Brussels sprouts back in the day.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, isn't there like a stereotype with like white families where like seasoning isn't used a lot on their meals?
Well, yeah, the white people use like salt and pepper.
Yeah, salt and pepper, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too spicy.
Yeah,
my mother-in-law can't even have pepper.
That's crazy.
Like
no,
as an allergy?
No, because it's too spicy.
Handle it.
Oh.
No. My wife is half Portuguese and half white.
Okay.
So but from her mom's side, sorry, I had a Mexican moment there.
De todos los lados.
My Mexican Tourette's is acting up. I'm sorry. Her mom's side, she's white, and so that's a common joke. Sometimes I'm always the one that wants like spice and spicy. I'll sometimes bust out the hot sauce to
I'm not a spicy guy.
You're not a spicy guy?
No.
Is it the Cuban side?
No, I don't know.
Do Cubans not like spicy?
Oh no, I like to say sometimes like I'm like the whitest Mexican you'll ever meet, but at the same time like I haven't even done a lot of white things. It's like I don't know how to describe myself, but there's times where like they're making something spicy. It's like they'll make tacos, obviously with potato sometimes, and they put the lettuce and the cheese and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. Like, you don't want salsa on it? No.
Oh, you get the look.
Okay. Yeah, like I just disrespected their meal kind of thing or their heritage. I'm like, I'm Mexican too.
I
like,
spent hours making that salsa.
Yeah, or whatever. Right? Like I let it ferment, or I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's funny. We're as Mexican Americans, we're in this weird like divide where we're like not Mexican enough to be Mexican, but not white enough to be American. Right. Yeah. So like
that's usually
something happened here. Oh no.
Yeah.
You unplugged your mic. Rookie mistake. And he's back.
2 seconds of nothing. And the views go up on that point, That would suck. That'd be terrible.
Minute 1 hour and 7 minutes. That's when it happens.
I know.
Then what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I mean, God, I can eat pizza every day.
Pizza's so good.
Yeah, pizza every day. And I just fast food pizza is okay. It does the job, but like we went to I like the ones that like almost deformed pizzas. Does that make sense? Like they like a wood fire pizza? Like a wood fire, but like they're so like not perfect circle. You know, those
Like
for some reason they
oblong
just have more like character to them or something.
It tastes better.
It tastes better, like because
they weren't. No, they
I'm
weren't.
guessing
They weren't. Those pizzas weren't afraid to try something new.
Yeah,
is
so
what happened.
I'm guessing looks helps the taste buds a little bit, right?
Well, yeah, they say that you like eat with your eyes first.
If it's bright,
Right,
and you know
right,
you think it's gonna be it's gonna be full of flavor, blah blah. If it's dark, it's gonna be bland or something, you know. But yeah, pizza's like my go-to. But I can eat also like French fries for a long time. I'm very like mainstream food here. It's very rare for me to like find a restaurant like everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I did go to Pat McGregor's one time, and it was my wife, or back then my girlfriend, and then the owner of the theater, because we never had dinner, you know. So we sat down. He orders a steak. I'm like, I'm gonna order the steak too. I'm gonna do what he's doing. You know, I don't know this place.
You're going big. You're going big time.
The only time I've gone to Pat McGregor's is after 11.
Surprise!
So, but I was there.
Their food's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
right
It was
now.
good. Yeah.
So we had the steak. I had the steak, and she had, I think, something like pork chop. I can't remember what it was. And remember, I don't like vegetables,
Right.
but I'm currently hungry, so I eat all the vegetables first, then the mashed potatoes, and then leave the steak for last. And as I'm digging into the steak,
He's so happy. He's like, just remember.
He's thinking about it.
as I'm digging into the steak, John about to like take a bite goes, "Did you eat everything else besides the steak?" It's like, yeah, because I don't like the other.
I don't like it to touch.
I was like, I don't like the other stuff, so I eat it first. Because my
Saving best for
wife
last.
and John, they were like taking bits of everything and then all in one, and I'm like, that's just not how my brain works right now.
It's funny how there's like an accepted way, and people have like the balls to like call you out on it.
Yeah,
I
did
know,
you
right?
eat
That's how
one
you
thing at a
eat?
time?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't
It's like,
fucking
you're really-
judge me.
You're
Yeah.
relaxing and doing a really human activity, and that's how you do it.
Like for some reason, for some reason, if you're for some I just had down.
Take a moment of silence.
Yeah,
from
for
the
some
guilty.
reason. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things. If you ever, I mean, have you worked at a place where they have like utensils already set out before the food comes out?
Yeah.
Most of the time, they have that.
I mean, sometimes it's set up nice, but generally you have like your roll up.
We went to this like kind of like banquet thing at in Vegas like a few years ago, and all the silverware is set out first. So you sit down and then you start digging into whatever food they bring out per person, whatever. And I can't remember what was left or right, but I was starting to use all the stuff on my left or something. And then the waiter comes over. He goes, "Is anybody here? Or is anybody on this side?" Or like he starts taking stuff away or whatever. And apparently I started using the wrong side. And I'm like, "What?" And he looked so irritated. I'm like, "You do realize we're on Caesar's Palace at Vegas? Like,
Yeah, but
I'm
people
not
like that,
gonna
like,
be
They set
upper
up all that
crust.
stuff and
Yeah.
they've read the books. They know.
and there was nobody sitting next to me. So what's the point of being mad? Like,
I want his forks too, man.
What if I drop this one?
Yeah. Can I get another one? Oh God.
I mean, it's not like there's like some guideline like you're supposed to use this one like right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
For
it
the
was
general
just one of those
public.
things where like
I guess you're supposed to know.
I was judged at that
Yeah,
moment
right.
kind of thing, and I'm like, there's no way I would, everybody in this room knows exactly what to do.
It'd be funny. They do when you
I'm the only
Yeah, you're the
one.
one
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a thing.
Possibly.
I feel like I always used to have to set the table, and I had this book that my stepdad had. It's called Miss Manners.
Mm-hmm.
It is exactly how it sounds.
Dang.
It's like the
Balance
right
a
way to do all the
book.
things. But setting the table properly,
Oh, yeah.
got your salad fork, your dinner fork, your knife, your spoon, your dessert fork
Yeah.
up here, like just like where the water glass goes needs to be like next to the tip of the knife. Like
Jesus
there's
Christ.
Yeah. Well, there's also like how far apart too, and everything, right? Like specific.
everything's
like,
supposed
you
to be,
need a
lined
ruler
up
and
at
everything.
the bottom. Yeah,
It's crazy.
Can't
It's a
imagine
thing.
that.
no.
That's
Here's
too
your-
much
here's your
work.
paper towel. There's your fork.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok video
I
with it.
still to this point don't put the towel. the
On your
napkin
leg?
on my leg. Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah. I
just
mean,
I just
I used to
don't.
get in trouble
I'm-
for shit like that.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
Like as when you're little?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
if you put it or if you
You need
haven't,
to. You need to.
you need to.
you need to. Well, I always felt like it was like
I always knew about the elbows on the table, but
Mhm.
that's pretty much it as far
No,
as
you're
I
allowed to
know.
like do this.
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like. Yeah, I do that. You know, I've never. I feel this is uncomfortable. I don't know how people would do that to begin with, but maybe because it's just like the way I'm shaped and stuff like that. maybe some kid has an easier job doing this because he's more flexible, you know?
Yeah, you look fairly uncomfortable right
I
now.
look
very
it's
uncomfortable.
very uncomfortable, but this I can do, no problem, you know? It's almost to the point where
You're
like I
like a
get
champ at
marks
that
because I'm
point,
like into the food. But no, I never understood this. Like, obviously it's a rule, but
Old-timey,
I mean, I feel
old
like I
school
could sit
shit.
like that, but it's more like if you're at the desk. Or
You know,
whatever.
I feel like, you know, when I was little, I used to wait for my food like this, and nobody was ever telling me, no, don't do that.
yeah.
But I don't.
You were also like scissors or something. Huh?
Yeah. But my dad managed Sizzlers.
You know who my dad is?
Yeah. No, my dad managed
That's
Sizzlers
where
for
when my dad would pick me up from my mom's house, I'd be like, take
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. No. Yeah. It was cool. He was
Sizzler
a
was
manager
place.
there, and
Dude, the kids mac and cheese, the little kids bar that was up there with the little dino nuggets.
yeah, and the curly
The
fries.
dino nuggets.
Ooh,
I ate so
yeah.
many dino nuggets.
Yeah.
Like,
With their
I
little
feel sorry
heads
how many
off.
chickens I had to
Yeah.
cut, like kill, because I ate so many. So many chickens.
So many dinos.
So many dinos.
No, you should feel sorry for all the wasted dino nuggets that had to go in the trash.
Oh yeah, I don't think about that stuff.
Yeah, that's what
You
you
think
should.
about
So
our gluttony.
waste food, is that a big thing at your
yeah.
restaurants? Do you try to come up with things where like you don't waste as much? Like,
Well,
I'm
obviously,
assuming that would be
obviously
a thing.
you don't want to because everything is like price per whatever
Yeah.
you
Right,
put into
yeah.
it, and you try to like.
But there's still a lot of waste.
There's still a lot of waste. And it's hard because there used to be like a food bank in Paso,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's in Slow.
Right.
You know, and like you want to. There's been a couple times where I've like brought it somewhere where I feel like people could eat it, but then you don't want to invite the homeless
Yeah.
to the restaurant
Yeah.
because then they start to know,
That's where
and
they
then
get
they're
their
like hanging,
main course.
you
yeah.
know, and I don't necessarily want to walk down to the riverbed and like give them
Have
dino
you
nuggets.
have you ever thought of opening up your own restaurant? Is that a venture that you'd ever like to try?
Yeah, not right now.
What are the requirements? What do you
Yeah, what would you-
what milestones do you want to reach before you say, all right, it's time for me to start a restaurant?
I mean, I want to be a little bit more successful at my like private gig. I think after you have your business license for 2 years, then you can kind of like apply for the small business loan and stuff.
Right.
That shit ain't cheap.
Nope.
It is not cheap, and it's
No.
not easy to do if it's big.
Right.
So I kind of want something that's kind of small and like specialized. I think I'm gonna try to go to like a nutritionist school,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't have to be like all like vegan hippie kind of stuff, but it can just be like thoughtful nutrition for
Right.
families. But I don't know.
If you were to open up your restaurant, have you thought of like what would you do with like waste management, like all that other stuff? Like, is there something that like ideas that you?
Well, I mean, yeah, perfect world. When you open your place, you have like all those kind
Of course, yeah.
But I don't know because it's like 10, 15 years out. So how
Right.
Yeah.
how ahead of the ball can you?
But you're
really
also,
get?
but
That's
also
very
that's
true.
not like if you don't do it, you'd be okay with not
Yeah.
doing that, right? Yeah. So.
It took me because I took 3 months off before I started doing anything. Actually, I took like 6 months off, but I like got a job at Allegretto. I'm like a spa receptionist there
Mhm.
too. Daytime. I lost my train of thought.
It happens.
Yeah.
So I know you do a couple. I know you're like spiritually like you like all that
Mhm.
stuff, right?
Mhm.
I've seen stuff that you've posted.
Mhm.
I saw one that you posted. It's like a retreat, kind of.
Yeah, so my friend Sarah is a photographer, and she puts on this thing called Persephone Unleashed, and it's like, I forget how many she's done now, but pretty much women from wherever
Mhm.
they're coming from. We had some people from the Midwest, we had some people from up north. Pretty much like 8 to 10 women get together and kind of do some. It's like a self-care kind of retreat. There's
Right.
like meditation, there's like massage, and then she's like a photographer, so she kind of does like a sexy photo shoot. It's kind of like women empowering,
Right.
you know, because it's like super rare that you one do that for yourself, and two get to see you like through the eyes of somebody who like, you know.
Would you say that helped? Did you first go to one around the time when you were thinking of quitting?
It was probably like 2 months before, and I had definitely hit that wall already, which is kind of why I wanted to go.
Right. Did that help out?
Yeah, I feel like it should shed some clarity. Yeah.
I mean, you had some time to yourself and kind of
Mhm.
like just do other things that you probably normally wouldn't do on your own, right?
Mhm. And it's rare to be like surrounded by a bunch of like-minded women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because sometimes we think that we're like, you know, like no one thinks like me, or like, you know,
Right.
you're jacked up or like whatever. But it's really cool to like see women of all age groups. Some are married, some are like have a brand new baby, some are never going to have a baby, like all different stages of life, and like still be struggling kind of with the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Yeah, it's one thing I know as I get older, and even I start seeing my mom or my aunts and uncles, stuff like that. They don't have it figured out sometimes. Even
No,
now.
when we were little, we looked at them like, oh my God, they do.
They have it all together.
They still don't.
They don't.
No, like there's people in their like 50s, 60s, and they're like, I don't even have a retirement plan. I'm like, what?
Well, part of it's been like, it was like systemically a certain way that they never had the opportunity to think of their feelings. I mean, feelings is one thing that I bring up a lot here is like, I think about my dad and like my mom, and we, like their kids. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're a little more like spiritually sound than they are because we've had more time to think about it. Also, they didn't grow up here, so it was a lot different. So hearing advice from my parents sometimes was very like, it doesn't go on here like that.
You're like, thank you, I'm not going to be doing that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember one of the lessons my dad taught me was I was like 13. All right. And I don't know what he thought I was doing at 13, but I wasn't popular. I wasn't I was popular. I wasn't thinking of like going to parties or stuff. I didn't do any of that in high school neither. But one thing he did tell me, he was like, all right, if you if you're ever out at a bar by yourself, and instantly I'm like, why the fuck would I be at a bar by myself?
13 years old.
Well, no, I mean, even later on, I even till this day, I'm like, I don't think I can do that. And even when I was single, like, and I didn't have friends to go out with, and I didn't have my daughter.
Just mean you weren't gonna go.
It just meant I wasn't gonna go. I was waiting for like fucking Oscar to be available, and so like to be able to go out. Other than that, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to find a movie to watch, you know. And he said, if you're ever out by yourself at a bar, make sure you have your back to the wall so you can so nobody can come behind you, and you are like surveying the whole area. And I'm just like, okay, one, I'm 13. Two, I don't think I'd ever be at a bar and by myself, and I'm like, my dad's pretty paranoid.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
My dad's the same way. Like when we go to a restaurant, like he needs to see the door. Like if we sit down and like I sit in the chair, he's like, can I sit there?
No, yeah, and you know what? And I know my dad he's still in food service. That's what he's done for like ever since he got here. I think I haven't asked all that much, but
you should check his resume. He might have some illegal stuff on there.
Nah, I don't think so. But I mean, when we moved,
putting that shit on my resume.
Yeah.
Dot.
Yeah. Call this number if you really want to find out.
Yeah, no, right? When we moved to Paso when I was 3 is when he got the manager position at Sizzler, and ever since then he's been all about like, you know, he knows like the culinary stuff and stuff. So like he, you know, like waitering and all that stuff. He knows like you have to make sure this how's this person enjoying their stuff. Oh, make sure they get their food at the same time, and they just taking them out to
service steps.
Exactly, taking them out to restaurants is always the worst thing to do.
Yeah, because like way.
Yeah,
don't take me to another movie theater.
I mean, it makes sense though. It's
it does.
Like the stuff
I don't get picky.
That you're good at and that you understand. So it's less about food for me. It's more like
I mean, it shows like your craft.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like something to like.
So I gotta ask, since we have a chef in the house here, when they put a smudge at the end and then they do this with their towel or something or their finger to like make it look fancy. Is that necessary? Like, you know, on the dish, like at the edge or something?
Presentation,
yeah.
Like the little swoosh.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes they like get the little towel and they like
it. Yeah, they'll like.
We watch too much Hell's Kitchen.
It's probably Hell's Kitchen.
You know.
You mean like the wiping of the rim and stuff?
Well, I know wiping just to make it presentable, right? Like to clean it.
Yeah.
But like, there's sometimes where like there's maybe like a little sauce at the end. And like it looks like a check mark. I don't know why.
I need to see an example.
I'll have to show you.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where like I don't know if it's just like a presentation wise or whatever, but
I mean, it
could have been something
swoosh.
random. Maybe a specific chef that likes to do it or something like that.
Because some people like to do like the sauce and then they'll take like a paintbrush or there's like a spoon or like
maybe you're just watching too many TikTok chefs or something.
Kind of like the guy who does the salt with his elbow,
or Salt Bay,
forearm.
Salt Bay,
yeah. Good pandemic. God, it opened up a lot of doors for him.
I did actually.
Yeah, I'm sure he was already doing it beforehand, but like when he showed up on TikTok, I think that's when he like started.
Added a whole new meaning to slapping your meat, I guess.
Yeah,
so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Just
there was a few where he got like a big old what's it called?
Is that necessary? Is that tenderizing it? Or
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but he smacked it, and you see a guy like reacting or stitching it. He goes, "Hey, babe," something random like that, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's funny."
I love all the spoofs that came from that too.
Yeah.
Somebody will just be like at home, like just with a regular steak and just flipping it around and just cutting it off and like throwing it, and the wife's like,
like not life isn't a montage. You can't make a sandwich that quick, like in Chef.
Yeah.
He made the Cuban sandwich or the grilled cheese for his son or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, try watching that movie, not getting hungry.
Oh yeah,
it was insanely good.
They're all even tasting the stuff, and it's all like all the pork.
Oh my god. I haven't eaten either yet. Dude.
I haven't eaten either.
I know. We're just getting hungry.
Sometimes
Why'd you bring a chef?
Why didn't you eat?
We had eggs Benedict this morning. It was good.
See, that does not sound appetizing to me because I don't like eggs. Yeah.
Whatever. I'll get eggs Benedict.
I'm sure it's great though.
What makes it Benedict?
The hollandaise on top.
Oh, okay.
It's like the toasted hash brown. I got the California one, so it has like tomato, avocado, egg.
So how is the egg cooked to make it a big? Oh, okay. So it's just poached eggs, but if you add the hollandaise sauce, it's now eggs Benedict. Crazy.
Add a little spice to your life.
Whoever Benedict is was a huge asshole. Naming it after himself.
Are there people in history that their name just stuck with the dish?
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, I figured.
And the same thing as like we said, like Kleenex.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Is that somebody's name?
No, but we're talking about
the brand.
Joe
brand.
Oh, yeah, okay. No. Wrong one. No, you don't want that one. There you go. We don't use that as much as we should. We haven't done that.
It's a tool that we don't really. We're too into the conversation sometimes.
Yeah,
that's why I need a tech person over there.
Yeah, I need someone to cipher.
Yeah, pretty much. I need somebody. DJ? DJ Moose?
DJ,
yeah. Cooking movies or chef movies or something like that. Like, what's your favorite?
I mean, Burnt's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like there's that No Reservations one too in that movie. I'm terrible with media. I have like no retention. I've seen all the movies. I have like so much ADD that I probably didn't sit down through the whole thing, but I probably watched them 3 more times.
You're probably cooking while
just like not paying attention. But like I've seen all the movies, but like start quoting stuff. I just.
Do you try any of the dishes you see on TV?
I mean, sometimes. A lot of times, I feel like I just like kind of like absorb the general gist, and then like later we'll start playing with them. I'm not like a big recipe follower.
No.
Right.
But like you just know kind of like the processes and procedures, and then you can kind of like start just kind of like mix and matching what you put into it. Like we used to make at the Italian place that I worked at right out of culinary school, we used to make like a duck ragu. So you like brown off of the duck legs and you like braise them, but it's like got like dried apricots and like fennel and like just kind of like more Italian kind of sweet flavors in it. But at the last place that I worked, we kind of make it like carnitas. So like we do the duck, we do the Coca-Cola, we do the oranges and like all the veggies and stuff. But it's cool to like have that process down, but you can just change out stuff and kind of change the flavor.
I'll admit that I'm actually kind of happy that you just went with carnitas instead of like those people try to sound like authentic carnitas, you know, like within like
carnitas.
Carnitas. No, she didn't say carnitas. She said it.
Carnitas?
No, she said it like okay.
Carnitas?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. Anyway, no, I do remember.
Playback.
But, yeah, playback. Yeah.
I was just watching Ace Ventura. Like, I want to watch that one again. The one where he's like a crazy football player in the mental hospital.
Dude, I fucking love Ace Ventura. It's my favorite Jim Carrey movie.
So good.
We watched.
I can do it, coach. Put me in.
Put me in.
Never see that instant replay.
He is so funny.
Before we end off our episode today, in the spirit of Halloween, do you have any Halloween? Does anybody here, I guess, have a quick Halloween story they might like to share or anything? Do you have a
quick Halloween story?
Anything. I mean, it could be about a burnt dish.
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I rarely celebrate holidays. Remember, I'm a deprived Mexican child.
Okay.
So there was a lot of holidays
scary.
was very, it's very scary.
Yeah. More like. Actually, yeah. So how did you do your Halloween then back then?
There was a lot of in our apartment complex. I mean the usual. I mean I don't like when they do that now when I see the kids do it, but we did it. We shared a mask. We just knocked on the same door and just.
Oh.
Or we pretend to be something we're not, kind of thing. Like,
Put on a fake mustache.
And I'll draw on a black eye or something. I don't know. Just something really like simple.
I think one time I went out with like just vampire teeth, and that's it. Call it good.
I do remember the full size candy being handed out back in the day. Now it's like small candy.
No, you have to go to the right neighborhoods.
Well, that too. But like in our apartment complexes, it was
good point.
It was what's it called? I know it in Spanish. Like bajos ingresos, like the
low income.
Low income. There you go.
Translation.
There you go. In real time. So it was surprising that they had like full size bar. I was like, damn, we coming up, son.
Well, because, I mean, I'm sorry, but Mexicans get a good ass car, but still live in an apartment.
Oh, yeah. They'll have
they get some hot rod, but they're still.
Los rines, ponle los rines. No, so yeah, the most like Halloween ever gotten is like watching Hocus Pocus when I was a kid. That's pretty much it.
Watch that movie.
Have you seen the second one?
I haven't even seen the first one.
What is wrong with you? He's like so many things.
I'm over here saying I haven't experienced a lot of things, but
and then all of a sudden I haven't seen Hocus Pocus. I was watching. I don't know. Who knows? I was watching.
What's your excuse, man?
Watching Nickelodeon Halloween specials or something. I don't know.
Yeah. A haunted
myself
mansion with Eddie Murphy. Scooby Doo. What's a good Halloween movie that?
Like family Halloween movie or like Halloween movie?
Halloween movie. I like what's his name? Not Frosty the Snowman, but the second one where he's like really like evil. Like
Jack Frost?
Is it Jack Frost?
Jack Frost is like the reverse.
Yeah.
Frosty.
Yeah.
Oh, that
one was
movie.
A scary one because it came out like literally right after the other one with Michael Keaton. No, Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah, I think it was Meg. Yeah. Wasn't that one called Jack or something?
Yeah, it was just called Jack. And it came
God,
out
90s.
First. So the kids
so
watched
good.
that one first, and then right after that was Jack Frost.
I bet you anything the slogan for that movie had something to do with like
probably
like advertising with that.
Probably.
Like, you knew Jack Frost.
Didn't
but
know.
you don't know Jack.
I know nothing.
This is Two Dads in a Pod, everybody.
Any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody? Anything else you'd like to maybe bring up or quick little something? Anything?
I feel like it's pretty well rounded.
All right.
If somebody wants to reach out and have you as a private chef, how did they get a hold of you?
It's my first and last name at gmail.com if you want to, or have an Instagram. It's Chef Danelle.
Chef Danelle.
Mm-hmm.
Not Danielle. I don't know.
Not Danielle.
Does that happen a lot?
Every day.
That was
every single day.
I think that was the one thing when like somebody introduced you or you were around like hanging out with Christian or something. It's Danelle. Like I don't know who was correcting who.
Yeah.
But it was like.
Sometimes I don't even correct people anymore, and then like
funny.
if I have a friend that's like it's Danelle, I'm like, oh my god, you love me.
You're paying attention.
It's funny because like my dad's from the East Coast, and they're gonna name me Danielle after Daniel, my grandpa, but they want to name me Danielle because it sounded black. And it's funny, and I love it because the one person that I've ever met in person with my name was an enormous black man in culinary school.
Danelle?
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm D. He's like, I'm D. And like, my name's Danelle. He's like, my name's Danelle. And I was like, how do you spell it? And it was the same.
And then like you look at a make believe camera, it's like we're twins or something.
I know it does sound like some '90s sitcom.
Yeah. What? Ding, ding, the end.
D&D.
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh God.
Besties.
Yeah. Well, if you ever continue to promote, we will promote for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, I want to start doing some like meal prep and stuff. Like setting
like
people
meal
up.
prep videos.
No.
You know,
why not?
Just meal prep in general.
I mean, I would probably need a tech person too.
Mm.
I don't know if I'm talented like that. He's like,
Yeah.
Wait, every person that's here, either I have an idea on how to help them, or he has an idea on how to help them.
It's usually well, if only you knew somebody.
we look at each other. We have the equipment.
I think about that, but
it's just if we just knew somebody. Oh, hey,
if only we knew somebody with equipment.
Hey, can you fix that light over there? You see that light? Can you just press that button real quick?
You know, I do that to customers a lot at the movie theater.
Tell them that you have equipment. I'm filming my
I'm
own
just
movie.
I'm just tapping a random microphone. They'll ask.
Oh yeah.
They'll ask about a movie that's coming
along.
out like months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know, but let me check. And I pull out my phone and look with them. It's
do
like,
you know the Google?
if only we had, there's
only we had devices.
Is your phone smart like mine?
That was a very good like commercial voice you just had on right there.
Yeah.
I work at a spa like 6 days a week, so sometimes I can be calming, but usually.
Is that part of the training when you work at a spa? Like, make sure you're using your inside voice.
100% there's spa voices.
Yeah.
Really? I wonder if it's the same thing for pilots. Is your cabin speaking? Over to your left. We
make sure you take pauses.
Yeah.
I saw a
No, but you have to do that.
Too, and they had the whole thing in its mouth.
Yeah.
It was like,
Or like if you work at a train station, departing.
Or DMV voice. Now serving. B8 at window number 2. B8 at window number 2.
oh, I like that.
Thank you. I can or cannot say that I haven't practiced that in the shower, so.
We'll never know.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us at Two
Thank
Cents
you
in
for
a
having
Pod.
me.
And that's exactly.
That's
And
really
that is our show. You know where to find us, and keep on the lookout for Danelle.
Thank you.
Chef Danelle.
Chef Danelle.
Boom, boom.